Stop Working Broke podcast, hosted by Chad Murray. If you're buried in jobs, chasing checks, and your phone goes quiet the second you stop pushing, you're not alone. Here, you'll get real tips and straight advice to fix your systems, tighten up your team, and create steady leads, because we build freedom by fixing what keeps you stuck. Let's get to it. Thanks for coming to the Stop Working Broke podcast. I am Chad Murray, your host today, and our goal here is to help, the home service businesses or anyone else who's listening, contractors, remodelers and stuff to, build that business that you always wanted. And so today, our topic is it's lonely being a business owner. And how do we correct that? I mean, you shouldn't be alone. Being alone in business sucks. And quite frankly, what happens to a lot of business owners that get trapped in their own little world is they don't understand the benefit or don't take the time for the benefit of getting out and networking, getting involved with associations and just all that kind of stuff. So, this isn't, need friends lonely type of deal. This is, I'm carrying payroll problems, employees, customers, and you have no peer bunch. That's what we're talking about. Do you not have peers at your level, your ownership level, either above or even below you, but they own a business? That's what I'm talking about here. Not just friends. You can't talk to your wife about this stuff. You can't talk to your best friend. You can't talk to your mom or your dad. I mean, unless they own a business, they do not get at all what you're going through. It all sounds easy, right? We're everybody's knight in shining army. And everybody wish they could be us, and all we do is wish we had a better business, And so that it's nice that people love the fact that we went out there and we started up on our own. We didn't need you. We didn't need a boss. We didn't need this and that. We had the gumption, the balls, the belief in ourselves to go and start a business. But here's the deal. There's so many niches out there that are so cutthroat that they don't realize the benefit of being friendly with your competitors, or at minimum, being friendly with the industry. So you may not like your competitors, or they don't get it, and you're trying to be friends with them and they don't care, or whatever, but you don't have to be friends with them. It'd be great if you could, but you can go outside of your market and be friends in other niches with associates and stuff. So, I mean, here's the examples of what I'm talking about. Do you ever feel like, decision fatigue? Every call feels expensive. You're putting fires out no matter what. And you don't really have anybody to bounce that off of. So there's no safe place to be honest. Like I just said, you can't talk to your spouses, your friends. They don't get it. Your employees don't get it. They surely don't get it. They want to see you lead. They don't want to hear your problems. They want to feel like they're secure. And so we overemphasize on how to keep these people secure because we want to protect them. They're our children. They're what makes us money. You're the shock absorber for everybody dumps everything on you, right? So you don't want to dump your stuff on them. And so you don't dump on anybody, and that's the problem. You need an outlet. And so you're handcuffed by key people. If I confront him, the whole thing will break. This is how you feel. Cash flow stress. You can't talk to anybody about that. Confidence erosion. You start doubting your own judgment. Success traps, revenue up, life down. You're getting into this, as you get more successful, you have less, you enjoy your business less and less unless you built it correctly. And so a lot of times I will take on a new client who's super successful. We're talking 3, 5, 7, 8, $10 million company, and they're miserable, completely miserable because they've never done life balance and enjoyed it. They're their own bottleneck and they're on their own way. But you know what? They're not plugged in to be able to fill, to where they're the whole problem. They're their own bottleneck. And so they don't reach out. And then when they start talking to me, they unload. And that's good. That's what I'm here for. But it's time to, find that person because you're isolated. You're overthinking, you delay, problems compound, which creates more isolation. That is what you have to stop. You know, do you ever feel like you ever say this? When I hire the right people, I feel better. You still need peers. Believe me, hiring people is not your answer to fixing your ownership issues. You know, if you get better systems, you'll feel better. Well, guess what? Systems don't hug you. They're not perspective. They're fixing stuff. Don't get me wrong, but they're not the bounce back and forth of how to be better systems and what works in your market and what doesn't. And so, and then the one funny thing that I love hearing about, when I first, especially when I first take over a new client, is nobody else ever deals with this but me. And it's like, are you kidding me? Everybody's dealt with what you're doing and going through. It is just literally all the time. So the gap isn't knowledge, it's proximity, accountability, and the truth. Let me say that again. Proximity plus accountability plus truth. So this is where we're at. Solutions. Level 1. Text one owner today. Someone else that owns a business. Can we talk this week? And just ask them, hey, I need a peer. I need someone to bounce shit off of. Do that. Do that today. Matter of fact, pause this and text someone and they don't have to be in your business. This is it. If you're an AC guy, you don't have to call an AC guy. Call a plumber. Call someone that owns an excavation business. Call a contractor. Someone you know. You know somebody that'll talk to you. Say, hey, let's talk to each other. Let's get on a weekly call and let's go have a beer, smoke a cigar, or let's just get on a Zoom call, whatever, a phone call, just whatever. Let's bounce stuff off of each other. Another thing is join a group and post once. You can't. It's so funny. I own a large chimney Facebook group. I think we have 2,000 members in there, and there's 2,000 members. There's not that many posts, and I bet you there's probably 30 or 40 people that are active all the time. And the people that are active are the people that are growing. Everybody else in that group, I promise you, they're not growing as fast as they could be, and I guarantee you, they feel alone. They don't have the support they can need from people that are going through it or have been through it. So join a group and then post something. Post an issue. Be vulnerable. Post it anonymous if you want. Facebook has that ability to post it anonymously. Be careful, though. I mean, this is what everyone's scared of. That the group is going to blow me up and act like I'm an idiot and say all this stuff. Well, who cares? Most of the people that do that on posts, they're idiots. When they blow up and say dumb things, it's like they're going through the exact same thing you. They're the armchair social media police, and they're just full of shit. So I wouldn't even care about that, But ask the real questions. When you talk to this person or in there, it's like, how do you handle hiring, pricing, payroll stress? Just ask the questions that you're having a problem with. That this is stuff. This is how to easily get your mindset going. And get this to where you're really, really focusing on the stuff that you need help with. And so, in the month time, do a weekly peer touch point mastermind. That's when that's when you really get into the fact where you hire a coach or you do something. I mean, I can tell you, and since it's my podcast, I'm going to do a shameless plug. Here we go. If you're not being coached, I promise you're not where you could be right now. I started coaching a plumber, a contractor, and a roofer. They're all fairly new clients of mine in the last 6 weeks. Every one of them thought they were essentially out of business. That's where they thought. Within 1 week, they all were collecting money, high on life, and they're now building a business just through someone else looking into their business, which is me. Now, of course, I have the wisdom of how to scale businesses and how to do the right stuff. But I mean, I literally just got there. Like I signed a roofer. We had our second session today. Guy's awesome. I love this guy. But he literally just was in that situation where he just was in his own head. We all were. I've been in my head so much over the years, and I had to talk to people to get out of it or get direction. But he literally was scared that he was going to go out of business, didn't know he had any money. Come to find out, he is doing great. He just needed to get his mind shifted. He talked a little bit to me, now twice. I've been mentoring him a little bit for free before, and boom. The guy had the best weekend he's had. He goes, I slept every night. Since Friday. Our first session was Friday. Our onboarding. He goes, he slept good all weekend. He spent time with his family. He was present. And that was just one talk with me. And so, that's literally what this is, the power of peer people, just someone to talk to can do for your mindset. Because mindset's everything. It's really hard to make money when you're pissed off all the time and you're worried and you're anxiety. And this is coming from a guy that has anxiety. I've done well, but anxiety has definitely become part of my life since COVID. But I always had it. Own a business. You're going to have anxieties. How do you deal with it? What do you do with your anxiety to solve it? Now, I'll tell you what it is. You work on the business. Anxiety literally comes from the subconscious knowing you're not doing something you should be doing when it comes to business. I don't know about all personal anxieties and stuff, but I will tell you about business anxiety comes from the fact is there's something you're not doing and you know you should be doing it. So do it. That's really what it is. That's what it boils down to. And it's so funny when you get somebody working on the right stuff, how you just, your whole life changes. Like things just feel better. You're busy. You're working on the right stuff. Things are moving. Things start selling. The way you talk to people is different. It's that big word that I love called winning. Are you winning? And then it comes down to, are you happy? And this is where you have to play with your mind. What does happy mean? Happy is a choice. Happy is not something that happens to you. You choose to be happy. Now, there are things that make you happy. There's things that make you sad. But you can still take the things that make you sad and choose to be happy. But you're never going to take something good and make it sad. So, you can do the same thing. You can reverse that for happy. You can literally, and I'm going to use an extreme one, your wife could leave you. And you can choose to still be happy and go with, I know that's a big one, but I'm just saying you can choose to be happy and accept it and move on. Eventually you'll have to anyway, but I'm just saying you can choose. If you have a bad day, you can choose to be happy. You can still have a shit day and still choose to be happy. That's something I struggle with every day. I'm crabby. My nickname, and I had a little t-shirt business before I started coaching called Crabby Daddy. It's a great name because I'm a crabby daddy. And but I'm a fun guy. I'm educated enough to help people. I like to help people, but I'm crabby. I'm sharp that way. And so when you're at home and you live with me, I'm a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. And so and I work on that, because the people that you love the most, you kind of beat up, but but part of that reason is sometimes I help so many people. I need to talk to people about my own stuff because I'm all day helping other people. I need to talk to people. And I do, by the way, I have a coach. So I don't just coach and tell you to go get a coach. I pay for a coach. And think about that. I can't be a hypocrite and not pay for a coach and then tell you to go get a coach. And so since I've had my coach, Francine, she's friggin' awesome. Christian entrepreneurship. She trains coaches. I needed help for myself. I don't need to be trained to be a coach. And so, as a matter of fact, we help each other with coaching, but I pay her to coach me at mindset and some tasks and stuff like that. So, think about what we're saying now here. Everything is coming back to you. Who do you talk to? Go find someone, hire a coach, do whatever you can do to move something forward. And you know what that usually pertains? It usually comes down to doing something you're uncomfortable with, doing something you think is not going to be cost effective. This is where you have to understand. right now, the reason you kind of got to where you are now is because you're so caught up in the daily routine. And that daily routine is I don't talk to anybody, I don't try anything new, or when I do try stuff new, I don't hold people accountable. There's just so much that's going on that really never moves the needle. So you're scared to do anything. The best thing you do is talk to somebody, whether it be free or you hire me. I don't care which it is. If you go talk to somebody, they're going to help you move the needle. Now, when you go talk to somebody, you got to make it relevant. That's what I was saying earlier. Ask about your problem. If you don't talk about your problems when you go talk to someone peer about it, then don't do it. You're wasting your time. But you need to talk to somebody. Now, the one thing about when you go talk to a peer, you know, is that a lot of times because it's not a paid scenario, you're not getting exactly what you need out of it, but it's a good start. This is why I'm so big in the coaching and the consulting is because the change and the difference that's made when someone's intentional and someone's looking from the outside in, kind of bitch slap you at times when you're feeling pity parties and stuff. And I don't mean physically, but, bring you to reality, get you to start working. I can tell you how many aha moments with almost every one of my clients I had last week. We're talking about people that have worked with me over 4 years and some people who've worked with me for 6 weeks or less, right? Why are there aha moments? Because I'm looking out for your best interest, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat what you need to be told. Like that's why I'm not your wife. I'm not your parents. I'm not one of your employees. I'm gonna look at what you're doing, and I'm gonna give you the real assessment of is it gonna work or not, and give you on the right mind path to go do it. And so that's the difference. Like peers are great, and you should go talk to somebody. Which is, I mean, without making this a more of a commercial about my coaching, but one of the biggest things to do too is get involved with your association. If you're a plumber, you're not part of the plumbing association, whether that be a local or a statewide or national. You've got to get involved. You've got to go and be part of the plumbing industry. And I'm saying plumbing. I'm just that window washer, maid service, chimney sweep, electrician, Christmas light people, just whatever. There are associations for all of that to go join. And I know it's like, well, I gotta go spend $500 to $800 a year to do this, and yeah, and then it's a waste of money. You know why? Because you don't do anything. You don't get involved. And it's funny how you always see the people that are involved are always successful. Like they're the success stories that you wish you were. Then of course there's always the people that just get involved just to be involved and they're not. But you'll see typically then 80% of the people that are involved all have very successful companies. And the reason is they are engaging. They know who to talk to. They know when to talk to people. They know how to talk to people, and they use all that at that point. And so, that's where you're really going to where you get everything, and how the involvement actually fixes everything. You start getting perspective. You stop catastrophizing everything. The world's not ending. Perspective's big. Here's the biggest thing about entrepreneurs: speed. Decisions get done faster. This is the crazy thing. Like, for instance, if you come to a webinar that I'm starting to give on Tuesday nights, which by the way you can hopefully, if I remember, I'll put a link into my Tuesday night webinars. I give everybody a discount if you sign up tonight. Like you get extra free one-on-ones to join my group. If you don't do it during a session, you have to wait till next week's session. Or if I have it every other week, I've just started. I don't know if I'm going to have every week or every week. You have to be on the call to get the free one-on-ones. I'm not going to give it to you. Speed to lead. That's just, or speed. Speed is why. And I find the people that do things fast are the people that are going to implement and are going to be better to work with. I don't want to work with people who are going to think about stuff or every week. I didn't have time to do it. That's all BS. So courage. You gotta have the backup for hard conversations. Hard conversations are what I've built my business on, coaching wise. Because one of the first questions I ask people in the world: how much money you got? And I never really get blowback on it. I'm always kind of waiting to see, and I'm good at just asking it. Just And it's funny how everyone just spits it out real fast to me, or they look real quick. But I've always been kind of leery for that one person to go, "Why do you need to know that?" And I'll be like, "Well, I need to know where we're at. If I don't know where you're at, how am I going to help you?" But I'm just saying, another hard conversation is like I had a conversation with a contractor about a month ago. He has a business partner that's not pulling his weight. And after about an hour talking to him, or maybe 30, 40 minutes talking to him, I finally had to say, after he's talking about the bottlenecks and we've got a ton of money in the books, but we can't collect because we're waiting on this guy and all this stuff. And I'm just like, well, what's the business look like not having him? And it was like a light bulb went off in his head. It's like, listen, I'm never a proponent of firing or breaking up a partnership. But after spending 45 minutes talking about bottlenecks, and he kept saying, I'm done everything I can do to get this guy to do that, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, what's the business look like if you didn't have him? you know? And that's a hard conversation, right? I had to get this guy thinking, whatever. And funny thing is the next week I followed up with him, or a couple days later, whatever it was. I think it was about a week later. He's like, well, I actually think I got this guy fixed, and I had a hard conversation with him. I'm like, well, good, because that's what it's going to take, right? Hard conversations. So stop normalizing chaos too. Standards. You got to have standards. And so that's the one thing I think that when you don't talk to anybody, you don't get involved, you don't pay for coaching, you're scared to market, you're scared that the market company you might hire sucks. The old one sucked. They screwed me. All these, I can't hire anybody better than I can't afford someone good. All these things are, you've normalized chaos. You've normalized mediocrity. And that's the killer of death. You're arbitrage. You're going into you're going to go out of business. It's going to be a long, slow haul, but you're eventually going to arbitrage yourself out of business. I've seen several people do it in the last 5 years. Just literally keep going down, down, and down. And I've coached a couple of them. They would never do what needed to be done in their business. So we had to keep working on how to cut shit to make more profits. Yet while they're cutting stuff, the revenue's going down. And they're like happy because they're actually making more money, but we're cutting stuff that should have been cut in the beginning. And now they're doing it just so they can make a living. And it's like, listen, we need to cut this stuff and do this other stuff. And the other stuff that I talked about, they never did. So they're just arbitrage until eventually they're going to be back in a truck. And after that, it's going to be out of business. And so that's the unfortunate truth of what happens to people that don't start scaling a business. Like I think I talked on the podcast last week. I was talking to a gentleman last week, and he's like, I don't want to grow, but it just keeps happening. And I'm like, yeah, I know. When you start running a good business, what happens is you're going to grow. The difference is growing is, can you manage the growth without, as you grow, your life should get better, not get worse. And that's what you see happening all the time. Is people start building a good business, yet they've never been taught the back end. So their good work out in the field is scaling their business to a point. So they will go from 1 to 4 or 5 trucks. This is where the real catch is. The real trap, the growth trap, is you get to 4 or 5 trucks. Now the problem is you're a truck, and you need someone to lead and manage these other 4 trucks. So you're scared to death to come off the road. That's where it is. You've got to accept that you got to come off the road to learn to lead people, and to do that, you're going to need to either get a coach, talk to people, get involved to learn how to run a business on the back end. And that's where a lot of people fail. This is why most businesses stay at $1 million. They never learn how to lead. They never, and this is what's funny. They feel it's a risk. I feel that it's just a natural progression in the business. I knew from day one that I was not going to be in my truck for more than 5 years. I wasn't. I mean, I guess, I was in a truck, I guess, for about 6 or 7. And then the 29 years I owned it, the other Well, I retired 11 years ago, and then still ran the business. Retired, just manage the management once a week. Talk to my CFO every day. That's how I ran the business, and it scaled to almost 5 million. But where the 1 million people get stuck at is, well, I can't hire someone else, or everyone keeps hiring is not good, or but business keeps coming. You start building a good business because you're good out in the field. You go find one good person out there. Now you have 2 trucks and you're doing well. Then all of a sudden it's like, God damn, we're booked. Let's hire a third. Then you hire a fourth. Now chaos really starts happening because nobody's really managing them. They're kind of their own little business inside of your business, and they're doing what they want to do. They're not doing how you want it to be done. And now all of a sudden you're like, what do I do? Well, this is why you need to take time and step out of the business to work on the business. I mean, it's always oversaid and overemphasized, but it's so true. Elon Musk is not in there on the factory floor all day long. Now he might go in there for a show thing and just turn a wrench or two, but no, he's thinking and he's pointing and he's hiring people to do the stuff. You think that's any different than running a service business? It's not. This is the problem with people. They don't understand. You're building a business to not work as an operator in the business. And an operator, I mean technician. You are the operator. And as the operator, you then have to hire, mentor, and manage these people. And then you're going to hire managers to manage these people. Then you build a life to where you go hunting, fishing, still work, but not much, but build and do other stuff you want. I built that life. I did. I sold my life and sold the business, and I am no longer owning a chimney company. Well, I still own a small stake in it, but I didn't sell 100%. But anyway, I'm no longer the head. First time I said this on the podcast, I no longer own master services. I only own a certain percentage. I'm not the controlling owner anymore. So, and I love it. I'm focusing now 100% on just helping and coaching people and doing a little marketing on the side too with my daughter. So that is where we're going. But I'm talking to people. I'm getting out. I talk to other coaches now a lot more. I'm doing everything I can do to make sure I scale my coaching business to have other coaches working for me to where I'm not going to be the guy doing all the coaching. I'm going to build the program. I am building the program to where a lot right now the program is me. But I got to build it to where I get success for everybody else, to where I can coach them and teach other coaches to work for me as we scale. Hopefully I have 100, 200, 300, 400 clients that are all scaling their business through coaching, a little bit of coursework and a little bit of mastermind work and some one-on-ones, the whole gamut. So to wrap this up, the whole idea is you're not alone. You shouldn't be alone. Get off your horse and don't be alone. Sit at the campfire and find other people to talk to. So here's where the shameless plug comes in. So yes, make an appointment with me and let's just chit chat. Here's what I promise you. I guarantee you'll start making more money within a month, if not a week. And I guarantee you, whatever you pay me, which I'm not going to tell you over the podcast, whatever you pay me, I promise you, it'll act like you'll have never have a problem ever paying that bill, ever. Matter of fact, you won't even feel it. Coaches should be free, coaches, consultant, because they're making your business work. And so I will be essentially free because I'm going to get your business going today, the day we talk. I'm going to give you tips to leave with, and then we're going to sign you up and we're going to start working on your business. It's that simple. Like, don't come to me if you're not ready. I'll talk to you for anything, and I'll slow close you and help you get there, and I'll do some free stuff for you. But the same aspect, fast implementation, brother and mother, whoever's here, sister. That's the people that start getting their business going. The longer you think about it, I mean, hey, 100% guaranteed. 30 days, you don't like my coaching, I'll give you money back. I don't care, because you know what? I've never given a refund. Not because of my coaching. I've given one refund and it had nothing to do with my coaching. Long story, but wasn't because of the results. So anyway, okay. So so guys, stop working broke. That's the name of the podcast. That's what it is. Get out there, get some help. Call a peer, call me, or set up a time on my calendar and let's go. Let's get your business going and let's not be alone. God, who needs that alone stuff? Let's get out there and get involved. And let's make sure that your mental health for running your business is for winning because winning makes money. Guys, that's our time. I can't wait to talk to you next week. Have a great, blessed day.